Hi there, good morning. Thanks a lot for staying with us here on Prime One, and it's time for us to get into our conversation here on Newsflash. It is proudly brought to you by Franco Trading Enterprise Store Phones, Papa Path here. And you want to also make sure that you get that CCTV camera that you need. Your televisions, your phones, you can get them from Franco Trading Enterprise, and there's some discount that you can also enjoy anytime you go there. So please do well and make your way to Franco Trading Enterprise and enjoy the very best of all that we have for you. If you need a microwave, a blender, anything that has to do with your home appliances, Franco Trading Enterprise will definitely ensure you get to have all of that and even more. And it's the reason we're asking you to go there. You might also walk away with some discount as well anytime you check into any of our branches. So yes, the Franco Trading Enterprise Store Phones, Papa Path here. Don't forget to download the app. It's on Google Play Store. francotrading.com is on our website, www.francotrading.com, and that's where you can also get all the info that you need. But don't forget that you can download the app. It's on Google Play Store. It's the Franco Trading app, and you're good to go. Everything you need, all the information you need, the numbers you can call us on. Once you've got the app with you, you're good to go. And once again, we're asking you not to call numbers you pick on social media to do business with us. Always make sure you're calling or you're dealing with the numbers that you see on the app and our website as well. All right. Franco Trading Enterprise says still phones, Papa Path. Don't forget the news flash is proudly brought to you by Franco Trading Enterprise. And this morning, we've got two important things to do here on the show, and Ghana Education Services assuring tight security and is warning against malpractices as B.E.C.E. begins today. And if you are also someone that is watching right now and you've got your ward taking part of it, you might also want to share all this information with your ward as well, so they don't end up at the wrong side of the law. The GES is actually speaking on this. We'll look at that here on the show and how prepared they are in terms of the exams, and also we'll look at the $15.6 billion BoG loss. Majority in Parliament actually coming out with some figures, and the minority insist that this was a necessary evil, something that we needed to do. The Bank of Ghana is actually speaking on this and also giving us reasons why we needed to do this to be able to get to where we are right now. They believe that stabilizing the economy took a lot from us, and we needed that to be able to have a better outlook for 2026. So the 2025 losses actually was something very necessary, and they needed to do that to ensure that we get to stabilize the economy. And they've promised that the economy will be looking good this year. And so we'll have that conversation also coming up here on the show as well. We'll get into the front page of the newspapers to check some of the reports over there, and then we'll get into our substantive issues. So do well, send your messages to us. We're streaming live on Facebook. You can send your thoughts to us on Facebook, and also our WhatsApp line is active. You can also send your messages over there as well. I'll be reading most of them here on the show, like I've done the past weeks. Read your messages on Facebook and all of that. So yes, do well and send them to us. Let us know what you think about two issues. Now, if you also want to wish the student that will be writing the exams well, you can also do so, and let's see how we can motivate them to go and write the exams and be successful with it as well. My guest will be joining me this morning here in studio. But before that, we've got the newspapers here, and we're going to be looking at the front pages of the newspapers and check out what has been reported. And Daily Graphic is here this morning. On the front page of Daily Graphic, it says Finance Minister files tax returns to boost compliance drive, and public office holders must account to public. That's also captured by the Daily Graphic page 32 and 33. Has got a story on that. You can read about it. Government targets fair pay. Independent Emoluments Commission to remove Article 71 distortions President tells workers, and economic stability must reflect in living conditions, TUC says. So 2026 B.E.C.E. takes off today. And Asante Honest Angela Lest, that's page 26, which got a story on that. And so you can read about it if you grab a copy of the Daily Graphic this morning. The Chronicle is here. And on the front page, it says BOG's 15.6 billion loss has stabilized inflation city. Dr. Johnson handed a Siama governor of the BoG, and they believe strongly this is going to give us a better outlook for 2026. And indeed, we all hopefully, looking forward to that. Bad policy decisions partly contributed to 44 billion Ghana cedis BoG loss. Minority says so. And police land guards abduct detective COP Tai Kujo opens investigations into bizarre incident at Shai Hills, and the Ibrahim Mahama justifies why Ghanaians must control their minds. That's also captured on the front page of the Chronicle. Now, the Bible quotation for this morning says, Ephesians 5:11-12 have nothing to do with the fruitless deeds of darkness, but rather expose them. 12, it is shameful even to mention what the disobedient do in secret. That's the Bible verse for this morning here on in front of the front page of the Chronicle. Now, the Ghanaian publisher this morning is also reporting a few issues, and it says Gold Board buys Damang's first gold output, NDC pushes BoG into insolvency, and Minority says so. And also Republic versus Chairman Wuntimi cross-examination exposes inconsistencies in prosecutions cases, and buffer stock trial court strikes out ages witness statement, and VIP demands 24-hour police presence on Accra Kumasi Highway. That's the Ghanaian publisher this morning. Away from that, let's get into the inside. The inside this morning says reparatory justice framework Accra to host high-level dialogue in June, and Asantehene honors Angela List. And away from that, energy situation is stable. John Jinapo assures Ghanaians. Chief of Staff announces presidential delivery unit to track government commitment to Dream Alive construction, reaffirms ownership of Akpoman land, issues final warning to encroachers. An attempt to sabotage lands minister backfires as anti-Galamsey crackdown intensifies. And Nana Ampim urges President Mahama to address Sampa chieftaincy dispute. That also captured on the front page of the inside. And then we'll get to the new finder this morning. Says Ghana's growth outlook dims slightly. Fitch Solutions and BoG records 15.6 billion loss in 2025. Government targets 1% of GDP annual investment to drive job creation. And Ghana's digital agenda calls for SME AI adoption, and labor market recovery lags despite stable economy. That's also captured on the front page of the new finder by analysts. And that's pretty much what you can find on the front page of the various newspapers. But let's get into it. And that of the BoG's story page, I think you can find that on page 2. Also, it's one of the issues that we're tackling this morning. So let's take a quick look at that. And we're going to get into the conversation briefly. So a detailed review has captured most of the issues that have been reported on that already, but the Bank of Ghana recorded a net loss of 15.6 billion in 2025, and the central bank stating that the outcome reflects the cost of measures taken to reduce inflation, stabilize the cedi, and strengthen the financial system. Now, according to the bank's 2025 financial results, the loss was deeper position compared to the 9.4 billion loss recorded in 2024 as against 2025. The bank also attributed the development to what is it's described as traceable policy costs associated with restoring macroeconomic stability after a period of elevated inflation and currency pressures. And the results show that while the bank's income grew significantly during the years lost implementation of monetary and financial sector policies outweighed those that were leading to the overall loss position. All right, so that's the justification for that. Inflation, the stability of the cedi, all playing a role in that loss. And so we're going to be getting into that conversation this morning here on the show. You can send your messages to us. Let us know what you think about it. Our WhatsApp line is active. We're streaming live on Facebook. You can also share your thought over there as well. And Like I said, I'll be reading most of your messages here with me this morning. Don't forget that we also have the big issue of the B.E.C.E candidates to talk about here as well. So yes, that conversation will also be coming up as well. So do well and send your messages to us. But let me introduce my first guest, who is already in the studio, and then we'll get the conversation underway. Mr. Malik Adama is here with me. He's NDC communications team member, and he's family to this family as well. It's good to see him this morning. And well, good morning. How are you doing?
Fine, thank you, Kim.
It's been a while, huh?
Yes, good morning.
Good to see you. Good to see you. I'm fine.
Yeah, you are doing well this morning.
Not bad. A rainy morning like that.
Yes.
Yeah, but we have to still come out and work. So
of course, yes.
We're here.
Yes, because you have to give information to the public.
Yeah.
Yes, and your work is very important.
Absolutely.
Because you educate, you inform the nation. So we appreciate what you do.
Good. Thanks a lot for the time. I'm also grateful to you for making time for us this morning. We're also expecting a few others to join us this morning here on the show, and then as and when they make their way here, we'll get into all the other conversations that we are supposed to. But for the purposes of those of you who are just joining us here on the show right now, there are two issues that we are looking at. Is the BoG issue, and then also Ghana Education Service, which is actually assuring tight security for the B.E.C.E examination, which actually starts today. All right, so we'll be looking at those two issues. But yeah, so let's begin with that issue first of all, the Ghana Education Service and the exams, and then we'll come back and look at the BoG issue when my guest is complete, and then we'll take it from there. But Malik, let's talk about. I mean, I know when I was writing my exams. One of the things that you always want to be, careful about and scared because the way they'll talk about it and everything is exams malpractices, and how, sometimes it even scares you to the point that when you get to the exams room, people believe that they forget everything that they have learned because the vigilators are tight and all of that. Over the period, as one thing that goes through GES, there's always malpractices somewhere. I mean, it's not new, but would it ever change?
Yeah, KMG, let me first greet the President, Mr. President, and our good mother, the Vice President, and then our viewers, yourself, and then your crew behind the scene. Yes, that is examination malpractice. This is what it has been with us for many years.
Yeah.
And then we are trying to bring it down. Though you can't say that you eliminate it completely, but we are trying to bring it down. When you look at the past 2 years, it has been so severe. And I think based on that the heads of our exams units are rather giving early signals so that we will not be encountering what occurred last 2 years and last year. When you look at even the data about what happened last year and last 2 years, in fact, it is so bad. Strangely, somewhere 2025, for instance, we have about 461,000 who wrote the exams. And then the malpractices were very high to the extent that a lot of them were cancelled. Some examination were withheld, and then others too were suspended. And what are the reasons? The reasons are, one, some people went with foreign materials. Some people went with electronic gadgets such as our telephones, such as our mobile phones. And then they were compromised with some of the invigilators and then the heads of the schools, which I think this thing shouldn't occur. And if we are talking about malpractice too, I think we should look at the way we also conduct our exams. And we should also look at the way we promote our students from one level to another. It's purely based on exams outcome.
Yeah.
And if it's purely based on exams outcome, everybody would like to score in an exams so that the person can move forward. But if we look at it very well, in a manner that maybe the class work and co will take some bigger portion of the mark, and then the exams itself to take some portion of the mark, such as maybe 45, 55, or even 40 should be the exams, and then we have about 60 to be the class, or can be 40, 40, and then the 20 can be some project work. You know, university does that. You have a project work, some assignments and other things which can take between 10 and 20 marks before the
So you know you have to just do just a
more
bit
of assignments. Sometimes it goes even beyond the 20 up to 30, and then the main exams will be about the 70. So if you do well in these assignments and then the class tests and co, you can score out of the 30, you can get 20 something, which you already have some marks aside waiting for the exams to come, because exams comes with its own challenges, the panic, the fear, the tension. But in most instances, it isn't that the children are not intelligent, but sometimes the panic, sometimes the fear. So all these things sometimes contribute to non-performance of our students. And then others to the preparation, though it's enough. But they'll be here, they'll be a pot, they'll be a pot. They want to take part. Because the assumption is that if you don't take part and others take part, they will score higher, and then the marking scale will rather go high. And you that you use your brain to write, you will score low, and others will score high. So because of that, whether you are good or not, you ought to also patronize in the more practice. So I think, yes, they've sent a signal, which the signals is recommendable. And they've also spoke to the invigilators, warned some of the hairs, which I think is also recommendable. But after all these things, I think we should also look at how we rate the scores from the basic to the SS level. Maybe if we are able to look at it very well and work on it, it will also minimize, I think, the more practices. Because it isn't only Ghana. It's across, especially the WAEC. It occurred in Nigeria, it occurred in Ghana too, and it is so severe. Yes, if I should tell you, in Nigeria, 2024, about 215,000 results were withheld. 215,000.
Well, that's a lot.
Yes, that's a lot. That's in 2024. And then in Ghana, it's about 10,000, which was withheld in 2024, about 10,000, which I think is a lot. And beside the 20,000, there are about 215. There are some numbers that were also withheld based on subject to subject. And I think it is too much. It is excessive. So with this, I think moving forward, our education think tanks should be looking at how they can just calm down the examination itself, and then look at how they will involve the assignments, the classwork, and then the exam should take at least half of the marks or even less.
It reduces the burden on them.
The burden and then the tension. It is the tension and then the burden. We've all written exams before. We know how tension it is. But in the university level, sometimes it's a little calm. Because you know you've done some assignments.
Which has put you in a level that you just have to do a bit.
Yeah, you know that you've had here maybe 7/10, 3/10, so you know you have some marks there. And then you just need to write something small to push yourself. So even out of the 70, if you score about 25, 28, 30, and then because of the assignments and you're able to get some 28, 30, you've crossed the border. You're around 55, 58, 60. You've even crossed the border.
Yeah.
You've crossed the border, moving to even B or co, you've crossed the border. So with that, the tension is minimal as compared to what we are seeing now. So they should look at it, else we'll be talking about this. We spoke about it. In 2025, we had the same thing. Well, it occurred previous years, occurred in 2024. Look at the number of people that their results were withheld. And then 2025 too, it occurred the same thing. And this 2026, we pray it comes down. We will not say it will not occur, but we pray it comes down. But we will end up saying the same thing again, to the extent that even some heads were beaten just because they were not allowed to cheat. So the cheating now has become legal to some of the students because some teachers refused to allow some of the students to cheat. So based on that, they were beaten. We heard those stories across the nation. And I think we don't have to encourage this. So moving forward, I think we should also look at how these things can be worked on and avoided. Yeah.
Another aspect of it is how, these students or children, if you want, are prepared by their parents before they get to the examinations itself. Sometimes our time, you have your parents, trying to talk to you even in the morning of, the exams, trying to let you understand that it is not, something to worry too much about. Just believe in whatever you have learned and all of that. Because if the child gathers courage to go and do more practice, I think it begins from home.
KMJ, the issue is yes and no. The no is that in a different angle, I want to speak. Some of our parents are very, they don't help their wards, most of our parents. What they do is that when the child closes from school, will come home and throw the book somewhere and go and play. And come back in the evening or in the night and come and sleep. Sometimes without taking his or her bath and sleep. In the morning, the same child will pick the book, go back to school without learning anything. And most of our parents will be looking at this without shouting or without instructing the child to learn. We see this always. But the best thing is that whether you, the mother or the father, whether you are educated or not, there is this trick you can use. When the child comes, just inspect the book, open it, do as if you are going through, even if you can't read. And ask the child, have you done, why did you get wrong here? Why did you do this? Go and do your homework, do this. At least be responsible. Be responsible. So the child will also what? Pick up. You can call someone around who is higher than the child to be teaching the child his homework, his or her homework. And by so doing, you are what? You are helping the child. That is one side of the argument. And people don't do that. So you realize that the children will not learn. And then when it is an exams time, then they are panicking. Then panicking comes because they've not learned.
And the parents have contributed to this.
Yes. And they've not learned. That is one. And another reason, I was against the quota that was moved up to, I think, 48. That's when you get 48, you get school. I was against it. The simple reasons are what I just said. If you don't learn and others burn the candle in the night and make a good result, and if you don't learn, you should write again. Because there is provision for receipt in the B.E.C.E. So if you don't make it, write again. If you are writing again, I believe you'll be serious. Your parents will be serious because they will pay for the fee, examination fee, and then maybe they will pay for someone to take you through again. So they will be serious. But if everybody should go, others will say, the children say, after all, if I get 30, I will get a school to go. After all, if I get 32, I'll get a school to go. But let's look at 10 years back. Let's look at 12 years back. Even when you get aggregate 12, you are struggling to get a good school. So children learn. And the learning becomes more or less like competition because they know if they don't get good grades, they will not get good school. They won't get school. So if it got to a time, we are not talking about aggregate 6, we are talking about the ones. How many ones have you got? If somebody gets between 15 to 20, the person hides his results. When you ask the person, how much have you gotten? The person even shy to tell you he or she got 15, 20 or cool. You see? So people were learning then. But when the cutoff point was extended, now people got 25, it doesn't matter, they will get it.
Yeah, they're still confident.
People get 30, they still get. So whether we like or not, the children, the rate at which they learn will drop. And it has dropped. But then, no, though it's more practices was there, but the children also learn because we see the outcome of the results. We see. You get it? So I am against that cutoff point, which was extended, and people getting those kind of marks going to getting schools. I'm against it. The reason is that there is an opportunity for you to write again. So if you go and write again, or whilst writing, you'll be serious. Both parents, whoever is taking care of you, your parents, yourself, and whoever, will be serious. And then they will now focus, they will put their eyes on you, they will make sure they supervise you, they will make sure they take strict care of you in the manner that you will pass and go through. But if everybody goes, KMJ, everybody goes. So whether you learn hard, you don't learn hard, you get 25, 20, you are lucky to get even at Chimata school, and will go. So I will not worry myself to be burning the candle in the night because I will go. But assuming you know, for instance, if you are doing degree and you want to do your master's and the cutoff point is second upper, first or second upper, you know what to do
to get to that.
Get that. You see, you burn the candle in the night, make sure that you come within the first class or the second upper so that you can get, because you know if you get second lower, you are finished. You won't get the course that you want to do. So you will learn to get there. So it's also part of why our children don't learn, which I think we should look at it again. Yes, we are not playing them wicked, but at least we have to discipline them so that they will become a good leaders. And then you and others, I don't think there was a cutoff point. When people were writing, there was a cutoff point that you were strict. You know, you choose Adisadal, you choose Achimota, Prosec. You know, if you don't get some figures in one, not necessarily at 6, you should get some figures, either the 10-1, the 9-1s or co, before you get those places. So people were learning to meet that cutoff point. But today, it has dropped. So people don't learn. It's also part of the reason why we are where we are today.
Very well. Thank you very much, Malik. And let me move on. And two of my guests have joined me already as well, so let me introduce them. And Prince Ofosu Sefah is here with me, former CEO of GIFEC and also NPP Communications team member. Very good morning to you, Prince. Good to see you.
DMD.
Hope you're good.
I'm good. Yourself?
Very well. We're here to serve. We're back. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm grateful for your time this morning. And Koko Dubois is also here with me this morning, Associate President, Ghana Watch Initiative International. It's good to see you, my brother. How is it going? You had a good weekend?
Good morning, bro. It's been good.
Your light was better. Your light was better.
At least, I think they said that.
And I'm asking you in particular because we have had this conversation last week. So I needed to be sure it is better than we had a conversation last week.
Oh, I think it was a little stable. But there were still places where people were still talking about lights going off without any notification and all that. And that is where I have a very big challenge. You see, if you would be able to tell people that, listen, at this time of the day, at that time of the day, the lights may go off, then they can plan. That has been my take. Because if you don't tell them, if you don't tell Ghanaians when they are supposed to expect their lights on and then when it's going to go off, it puts everything in disarray and it doesn't help at all. But if
so far
I'm going to come out with a timetable, I think I saw some timetable after.
Some places do have. I think it's the cross communication that is not really that heavy. But there are people who have them, and others also don't. I think it's one thing that they are supposed to be looking at. I have not had light off for a couple of days now after we complained and all that. So I am hoping that it stays like that. And for those who are also experiencing it, maybe they also get to understand, why it is becoming like that in their area. And if they have to also plan like the timetable you are speaking about, it helps everybody to be able to.
For me, bro, I still think that some of these things, like electricity, like petrol and all those things, should be out of our political gimmick. You see, on both angles, whether NPP or NBC. Because, like I said last week, if you go to the pump, the diesel or petrol...
It's not going to ask you which party you
belong to before you purchase. You see, and then these electricity things, we should be focused and then tell Ghanaians the actual situation. You see, it is better for me to know that this is the situation we find ourselves in than the gimmicks, or doom CC, doom you see, and then we come with a whole lot of coins. We will coin this title, we'll coin that, yet the main issues there are not tackled. And some of these things, you would bear with me, or you would understand that we play politics with it, and everybody thinks that it is the president that is supposed to ensure that the lights are on 24/7. It's a minister that is supposed to ensure, and so the technocrats, the one there who is his job to ensure that things are done right, are left of the hook. Because we would, instead of looking at these issues from the nationalistic point of view, we would rather play politics. NPP are buying, NDC are buying. And then the technocrats, the person that is supposed to be his job, that is supposed to ensure that all these things are taken care of, will be sitting there. In fact, eating gov't and whatever.
Anyway, all right.
Let's come back.
Well, let's come back home.
I thought you are right in a way, but I thought there is an political element of it a bit. For instance, the funding. For instance, improvement of the that's the megawatts. Of course, yes, that one will be from government section, because the democracy, yes, they are in charge of the supply, the maintenance, make sure the distribution. But when it comes to adequate power, it is the administration. When it comes to maybe funding, it is also the administration. So if maybe the government don't fund it, it is.
That is the political aspect of it.
Yes,
and I'm thinking
Malik is not getting something right. Malik is not getting something right. Listen, we are in a country where if you look at the IPPs giving us almost 2,300 megawatts. And then government, or well, if you may, Ghana or with Akosombo, and then BE.C.E also giving us almost about 2,500. And then at our peak, all we need as a country is 4,000.
Now we need 4,300. Let's be on
4,400.
Let's say 4,000. And then, but then what we produce is in excess of 5,000.
Yes, okay. That is installed.
That is
installed capacity.
But available is about 4.8.
Even if it's about 4.8.
Yes.
And then we need 4.4.
We need 4.4.
It means
the difference of 400.
It means we still have a surplus. Of 400.
Not much.
And then what we know is that we can't have it all on the.
I agree.
That's also
correct.
Okay, but if the technocrats out there is ensuring that is the, you see, we have a poor maintenance culture. One
that is another. The danger one too is the poor maintenance. Poor
maintenance. So if government will come in and then give all these supplies and then make sure that we are adding this, we are adding that, and then still the person that is supposed to administer,
check that the maintenance is properly done,
and then all that. Do you think that if this terminals that got
the substation that burned,
got burned, if we were doing regular maintenance and people were there monitoring the supervision was apt, do you think we would face some of these things? Because by the time he even gets, by the time he gets to this point, he knows that where this thing is heading towards, we need to ensure that
and it will be done before the bad thing happens.
You see, and that is where I'm coming from.
Lashibi, the transformer at Lashibi was installed somewhere in 94, 95. It's about 25, 26 years. Imagine the population at Lashibi in 25 years ago and today.
It's changed drastically. Anyway, it was necessary. Let me go to Prince. Prince, maybe you touch on the GES issue briefly, and then we'll look at the BoG issue. I don't know about Kwaku, if Kwaku also want to do the GES issue. In fact, it's supposed to be our less, topic. The major one will be the BoG issue. So maybe you all do 2 minutes for me on that, and then we can go into the BoG conversation.
Okay. So you're talking about...
We'll do a GES, the B.E.C.E exams that begins today.
Yeah, so I think last year, the results were... there were declines.
Yeah.
And we're all concerned about it. So we're all looking forward to better results this time, right? So from my standpoint, the previous results were concerning in that there were questions about changes that had been made by the new administration. Some of the professional and other allowances that had been retrenched were cited. There were also issues about exam PASCO that were also used to be provided, and examiners' reports that used to also be made available so the students were better prepared. What Ghanaians need to understand is that in the previous administration, in my view, there was a lot of these programs which benefited the relatively poorer people, in that those who have the means had access to these things all the time, privately.
Yeah.
Of course, you have the means, all right? You get the best tutors, you will get PASCO, you get everything. And even in the case of rural-urban differences, the kinds of support systems and teachers and so on in the urban areas will often be better, right, than in some of the more deprived areas, because we all know people don't want to be posted to some of these places, right?
Yeah.
So when government made these resources available, I think it was crucial for especially those who are relatively downtrodden. So taking some of these things away, in my view, actually tips the scale back to the well-off. Okay, and that is not the best, because we have people like the former education minister, Honorable Duchum, as the immediate past, and he talked about his brother having to sell a pig or something like that to support him to. You heard that?
The only person that has gone to school to that level.
When I heard
they needed a pig to ensure that.
So that tells you, and look at the impact he has had. In terms of national development and our political situation and so on. So that means that we have lots of gems who are not necessarily living in Accra or living in East Legon or Airport Residential. So it's important that we democratize opportunity for more and more people. So government needs to look at some of these kinds of intervention programs, which I had been told have been retrenched or removed and so on, so that we don't miss the next Honorable Osei Aduchum, right? So that's my concern.
Okay.
But looking forward, we hope that in the next round, with the government having been in for a full year and then a full cycle, their approach is going to bear the necessary fruits. We're watching, because previously they said it had to do with stronger invigilation and so on. There were all kinds of things that were said, right? Now we have to see whether these things really, especially as we have the benchmark of last year, we want to see significant improvement. Otherwise, then now we really have to see their approach as not bearing the necessary fruits, because we can't keep taking steps back. That's the way I look at it at the moment.
Okay, very well. Thank you very much, Prince. Let me have your thought on that.
We wish her words that are right in B.E.C.E well. I don't think it's something that anybody should be panicking. This is where we find ourselves at the moment, where you are supposed to just learn and show that you have a grasp of whatever subject you're going to write. I think they're writing 11 subjects each. And we're just hoping that they would do what is expected of them. We have as many as 620,000 students, right, in B.E.C.E this year, from almost I think about 21,000 or 20 or something thousand centers, or 2,000.
No,
1,700 and something.
1,076.
6 centers, okay. And with about 21,000 invigilators and then 2,000 supervisors, we expect that some of these things that WIAC always will come out with would be a thing of the past. I don't know how some of these students are able to, with all the security checks and all that, some are still able to smuggle things into the centers and all that. I don't know, but with all these supervisors and invigilators, we expect that there will be more than enough security. People will be prevented from, you see, if we should help these kids. We should help them to even walk away from examination malpractices. But humans as we are, people will still maneuver. People will still try and then get some of these unwelcome things into examination halls.
They actually think helping them is showing them or allowing them to cheat. You're helping them to stay away from it. It's not the kind of help they need.
See, sometimes you should prevent the person from himself. He wish.
Now they see that as help.
That is how come almost 11,000 people. Papers cancelled in 2023.
And it was really embarrassing reading.
And it is getting to a point where I think that teachers in the junior high schools must be up and doing. Because if you prepare your child, you prepare the kid well towards the exams. There's, like Sefah was saying, the chief examiner's reports, you pick it, you go through it, you know the subject areas, the questions that were able to, the kids were able to answer, the ones that they failed in answering, and the percentages that were tackled. And you look at all these things, it will just even prompt you that WIAC is going to bring some of these questions back. Right? Even though it's not going to be in the same pattern as the first was. But if you read the chief examiner's report year in, year on, you will find out that there will be a trend that if you are a subject teacher and then you really know your act, you will know how to prepare your kids towards the exams. Because we did it and we succeeded at some of those things. Okay, I don't know what is happening today. Since some of us are not teaching it, we all run away from Malika. As are running away from the classroom. So sometimes you wonder what the kids are being taught. Because it's supposed to be a student-centered education. But you see, sometimes in some of our schools, teachers will go, just be teaching, and then the children don't even understand. And it's like, all that he's teaching, the child is lost. But then you are supposed to understand the kids you are teaching, understand what the pattern is supposed to be, so that you impact knowledge into them. They go out there and then produce what you have taught them. But then if we don't look at some of these things, and all that we do is WIAC always coming out with, this year we have security men. If we catch you, we'll do this. If we get you, we'll do this.
And it's not solving the problem.
It's not solving the problems. Yes, the assurance is good. It is good. All that, what this communication does is to assure us, is to ensure that people are deterred from going close to them. But then every year it happens. We pray that this year the casualties will be low. We know it is not going to be easy for all these things to be done away with, but I'm telling you, we would have some casualties.
Bottom line. Bottom line. Anyway, if you just join us here on the show, this is News Flash. It's proudly brought to you by Franco Trading Enterprise, still folks, Papa Pafie, and we're grateful that you're on the other side. Do well and send your messages to us this morning here on the show. Our WhatsApp line is active. We're streaming live on Facebook. I've seen some of your messages over there. I'll be reading some of them very soon. And those of you who are sending yours on WhatsApp as well, I'll be reading them very soon as well. And you can also join us. A big thank you to Franco Trading Enterprise, still phones Papa Pafie. Now let's get to the next conversation that we have, and that will be the Bank of Ghana and the financials that they've put out there for 2025 and 2026. A loss of 15.6 billion, and they justify that, and they believe that the inflation and stability of the city and a few other things that they had to do to ensure that we have a better figure in terms of what happens in 2026, the outlook for 2026. The minority in Parliament believe that even the figures are more than what they are saying, and they want to prove that. The majority insist that it has to do with making sure that we get to have a better economy like we all want to have. And so we'll get into that conversation. Let me start off with you, Malik. And I don't know what you make of the figures. First of all, let me have your understanding of the figures, and then we'll get into what the minority is saying as against what you have with regards to that figure.
Yes, this is a figure that was captured in the financial statement of BoG. And then if the minority disagree with the figure, as they said, they should bring out their figure.
A proof of what they think that it's
because the figure didn't just derive from maybe somebody sitting in his office doing calculation, but it was a properly audited report, financial statement of the bank 2025. You know, yearly base, as the law requires. Every institution, you have to prepare your financial statements and then submit it. So this was captured in the financial statement, which is the $15.6 billion as compared to the $9.4 billion in
2024.
So the figure is authentic, unless they are able to prove otherwise with evidence. With that, fine, we will look at it. But as it stands today, we will still go by what it is being captured in the financial statement of Bank of Ghana. Bank of Ghana also told us many reasons why they made those losses. Yes, and those reasons to me are tangible, they are meaningful, and then they make sense to me. That is number one. Let's look at the losses they made from the purchase of gold. They gave 4 reasons, which I'll take them one by one. Number one is that we know central bank, when they are dealing with any other institution or person, they deal with interbanking rates. And the then interbanking rate was about 10 point, roughly, it was about 10 point something, about 10.4 thereabout or 10.5 thereabout, which was the interbanking rate as at end of 2025. And then, you know, when they are buying this gold from the traders, they buy it at the forex market price. And the forex market rate is literally above the interbanking rate, which everybody knows that. The forex rate is literally above the interbanking rate, which everybody knows that. So, which has been with that even before 2024. So, the gold that they buy, automatically there will be operational differences there. Because if forex price, let's say it's 11.2 or 11.1 or 11, and the interbanking rate stands at 10.5 or 10.45, there will be that difference of the 50% difference automatically. That is number one, which amount to the 9 billion losses in the gold purchasing. That is number one. And then number two too is, you know, the intended mopping up the excess liquidity. Yeah, that was in the system. And then, you know, most of the banks were having a lot of funds sitting in their offices, sitting in the banks and other places. Some of them invest in government bills. And also, what it does is that it rather escalates the inflation. That is how come we had higher inflation. And if you will recall, the then president wanted to bring down the inflation. So the policy rate was increased. That is the rate at which the banks get facility from the central banks before they give the facility out. Increased. It was beyond 25%, up 28, 27, you can check. So the policy rate was high, just to discourage people from borrowing more so that there will be excess money in the country. So this administration, what the BoG did was that, rather was to encourage the banks, give them interest, so that the banks can rather invest the money with the BoG. So the BoG did that and was able to mop up the excess monies in the system so that we can control inflation. That is how come inflation was dropped from 23.8 to 5.3 at the end of 2025. That is another. And then remember that we had a challenge with the domestic debt exchange program, which is number 3. And then the domestic debt exchange right now, there's a particular 13 billion lost income yearly, just because of the agreement and then the policy. So automatically, yearly base, there is this 13 billion that doesn't go to BoG. Automatically, payment goes out. It's also another reason why this amount escalated. And the fourth one is that, the exchange rate differences. Imagine the then rate was 14.7. That was December 2024. And then the same December 2025 was trading about 10.45, 10.5. You can check, I stand to be corrected. There is a difference of figures. So if you have a reserve in a dollar term, let's say $1 billion reserve, and then the exchange rate then was 14.7, and then it dropped to 10.5, automatically, yes, there will be losses. Automatically, just because it has dropped, there will be losses. And those losses are operational losses. You've not worked, you've not done anything, but as a result of what? Bringing down inflation or trying to stabilize the city or bringing down the city. Automatically, yes, there will be this operational loss. This is the 4 reasons why we had the Bank of BoG had these losses. So let's ask ourselves, did it affect Bank of Ghana? The answer is no, because they are still doing their jobs. What are some of their jobs? To conduct monetary policy. They are still on it. Well, to manage the foreign reserves. They are still managing it today. Which
are off the outlook for 2026, which they promised that things would get relatively better than it did in 2025.
Which even 2025 is better. It's best, not even better. 2025, the foreign currency was stabilized. Everybody knows that, was stabilized. You understand? They were able to supervise the financial institutions. We brought down a base rate. Base rate today, was it about 15%? Base rate today is about 15%. Which simply means, it's about 15%. Which simply means when you are going to take a loan in a bank, you take it less than 20%, depending on the bank, between 16, 17, and 18, which is positive. Today, you can plan because the interest rate is not what? It's not trickling. The interest rate is stabilized. So you know when you are importing things from outside the country, you know the interest rate is 11. It is playing within 10.8 to 11, 10.8, 11. So you can make your projection, you can also make your analysis, and then you can also make your plans, and then it will go by it. So things have been stabilized based on the measures they took, things have been stabilized. And what do we want as a country? Stabilization. That's what we want. And this stabilization that they achieve has stabilized the country. Honestly speaking, when it comes to the rate at which goods and services increases, it is not as it was before, based on what they've done. And you should also remember the gold pitches that they made operational difference, which is loss of that 9 billion. I don't call it loss. You know why? The reason is that is the costs, the difference in price of buying the gold as a result of the forex exchange and then the interbanking rate. But when BoG are going to sell the gold, they sell it at the prevailing market rate, which they will make more profit than how much they bought it. And how do we define profit? Profit is being defined as what? As income minus expenditure, right? And then the income will be the cost at which they sell the gold. And then the expenditure will be the cost at which they invested in the gold. So far as I'm concerned, and those who understand what they did, I think you can't eat your cake and have it.
Okay.
They did a right thing, and today the country is stabilized. That is how can they said in 2026, we will not be incurring this debt because it has been already incurred. The debt has already been incurred, so we will not, because we are able to sterilize the banking sector. So it will not be done this year again. So that interest will not be there again this year. So automatically, yes, it will be out.
Okay. All right. Now I'll come back to you again. Let me have the takeoff points, and then who's come in after.
Okay. So DMG.
Yeah. The minority, in fact, Kojo Ponkoma has been speaking a lot on this issue.
Smart guy. One of the smartest. We're happy to have him on our side. If you look at the mission of the BoG, okay, obviously they are responsible for the monetary policies and stabilizing various indices that we need in our economic environment. But one of the words that I saw there, which I think is important, is sustainability. It's mentioned in there, in the mission statement. One of the first things, and I want to make sure, we've been briefed and we've reviewed and looked at the statements and all that, which was highly anticipated. And I don't want to get too much into the financial jargons. I want to try and speak to the purpose of the average Ghanaian, so they can really understand how this affects their life.
The reality on what is happening on the ground.
So that's why I mentioned, first and foremost, I mentioned sustainability. Is what the BoG doing really sustainable? That's the first thing. And I say that there is a problem that all Ghanaians have to be worried about. The reason being that we have a situation where when you do various technical analysis, you realize that the reported 15.6 billion of losses, okay, and it's a loss. That's at least according to the accountants, okay? So let's not define it the NDC way. Is actually at least about 34 billion in reality. And how did they achieve that? Okay, very concerning, something that all Ghanaians need to understand. There is an international accounting standard called IFRS, and I used it when I was CEO. All various major organizations in the country, public institutions, in fact, are supposed to be compliant with IFRS latest by 2028. That's according to the Institute of Chartered Accountants, Ghana. Okay? And even all the banks that the BoG regulates, they're all on IFRS. And the BoG itself, through the MPP administration was using IFRS up until through 2024. This year, what do we see? As reported on page 10 by KPMG, okay? The bank suddenly decides that they will switch from IFRS to their own internal accounting standards. Why did they do that? Well, we are very sure it's in part for them to hide a big portion of the loss that should have been reported. If you were using IFRS, okay, the reported loss would have been about 34 to 35 billion cedis. Just simple as that, at least.
That's against the 15 billion,
yes,
2.6 billion.
Yes. And this is reported on page 10. They have switched to internal accounting standards. So they want to hide. They are trying to deceive you Ghanaians. And KPMG itself reported in there on page 10. So this is because there's something called OCI, other consolidated income, which they put about 19 billion cedis off their losses, okay, in some of the trading activities that they have to do. And so they are hiding, they're trying to use accounting standards to hide about 19 billion. So right off the bat, please, the 15.6 is a propaganda type of report. If IFRS was used, which it should have been used, it would have been 34 to 35 between that.
So as it stands now, they don't use the IFRS.
They have stopped using it. NDC has stopped. This government has stopped using IFRS to continue the settings government that they are doing. Everything is settings. Now, if you also look at the lived experiences of the average Ghanaians, you out there, okay, the lending, level of lending has reduced significantly. I forgot the number, but it's true. That has gone down. People are not borrowing. And you business people, you yourself, you know, even when the rates are going down, people are not borrowing. We say that inflation has gone down significantly, right? Yet people cannot buy. They don't have the purchasing power. You yourselves, Ghanaians, you know that the economy is dry. And I myself, I've had business engagements where at some point, honestly, I had to reduce prices.
Because people are not buying.
They are not buying. So this inflation, and who said that inflation must be reduced so rapidly? Who said that? Who said that? If you look at the best practices for a typical economy such as ours, okay, the inflation, optimal inflation is often around 8%. Now, you may not understand exactly what the optimal rate should be and what econometricians may tell you. But I can tell you that you can feel it when it happens. Okay? Because if inflation is down, but business people are not able to sell. People are not buying. They don't have the purchasing power. Why is that? And how is that really impacting you? So the government is telling you that they spent all this money, which in many ways, it's in one way, it's at least 34 billion, okay? That was spent by the BoG in terms of the losses to bring these beautiful numbers that we have, which are not impacting. Sorry?
No, that's against what they are saying. The figures they are quoting.
That's what they bring.
The figures they are quoting.
I already gave you evidence. I said IFRS. Please, I need to focus. I said IFRS. I gave my basis. You use IFRS, it will be 34 billion. I've already said that. I've given my evidence, and I've given you the page. You can read it from page 10. Of the report, according to KPMG. Yes. So I don't need to explain that any further, but to get back to my main point, which is that people's lived experiences right now, there are two main problems. Cost of living is going high.
You think people are really going through a lot of hardship now?
Yes. Cost of living. The economy grew at 5.7% in 2024. The last year of the previous government, when we were moving from the crisis to recovery. Clearly, according to IMF, they said that everything was on track. And last year, per the World Bank, provisionally, our economy was growing around 4%. So, and this, we're talking about real GDP, not just GDP. We're talking about real GDP. Real GDP is different from GDP growth. Real GDP always factors in inflation already. So in other words, they already factor out inflation and then give you how the economy has really grown. That's what they mean by real GDP. And provisionally, World Bank, for example, reported our economy was growing at 4%, tepid, almost back to the previous Mahama administration's type of tepid economic growth that we had between 2013 and 2016. And in the previous year, it was around 5.7%. So for me, okay, the bottom line, in terms of not getting too much caught up in all the numbers, is that the bank has spent so much money to bring about the exchange rates that we have, to bring about the inflation, which has gone down rapidly, I agree. But the question is, how is this really impacting people's lives? For me, an economy, and I tell this story almost every time I'm talking about the economy, it's like making soup, okay? You have lots of ingredients. The ingredients, you have some spices, you have some meat, you have some fish, you have tomatoes and all kinds of things. You put it into making a soup, all right? If you're not careful, some of these numbers, which are not translating into people's lives, okay? It could be, an example could be that you got all these spices and you don't know how to mix them, you're overusing them. So the government has all these policy mix. It's costing us a lot of money. It's not sustainable. They had to fire sell our gold, which they reduced by half. Already that's an issue. They won't let us investigate because they sold this at about 3,500 an ounce, when gold went as far high as 5,500. And so the country has lost over 1.2 billion dollars, which we have lost.
Where from the report?
Which report are you talking about? What report are you talking about? The Bank of Ghana itself reported selling 18 tons of our gold. And I'm telling you that they sold it, per our analysis, by an average of 3,500 an ounce. Okay? And
so this is what the investigation majority did with regards to the selling of it.
Yeah,
the figures you.
The minority has reviewed
this is what they did.
Yes,
with regards to
these are all public information.
This is out there.
Sorry?
There are figures that are out there.
3,500. We know the statements. We made about $2.6 billion. We know how much was made. And when we've done the analysis, okay, I'm saying that we sold our gold at an average of $3,500 an ounce. Okay?
And originally it would have been sold for how much?
I said that gold,
more than that,
even after the sale, which happened in October. And we believe they sold this to make their statements look better than it was going to be. Okay? Ghana is on track to lose $1.2 billion. And we wanted this investigated. Okay? So we tried to do it in Parliament. They used their majority to shut that down. The same way that Gold Board lost about $214 million, which we wanted to investigate. They won't allow us. They used their majority to shut that down.
Sammy came out to explain that.
I don't believe
you don't believe what
I don't believe
the explanation he gave for that.
I believe the minority leadership that wanted this investigated so you and I can all see transparently, okay, what the issue was. Why didn't you allow that transparent investigation? And here you're going to quote Sammy Gyamfi. For what? I mean, one of the most propaganda experts that we have in the country. Quote him for what? Why didn't you allow that investigation, open bipartisan investigation, so we can all see what the truth was? So please, let me quote my figures, let me focus. All I'm saying is that we've ended up in a situation where they've spent all this money. In 2022, at the height of the last crisis, the BoG spent about 60 billion cedis that year. That's how much we lost. And let me tell you, of the 60 billion cedis, okay, 48...
60.8 or 60?
Wow, okay. I remember 60. You say 60.8. I stand to be corrected, no problem. And of the 60, approximately 60 billion cedis, okay, 48 of it was a haircut, a write-off, which the bank made to government. It was monies that were owed by central government to them. They wrote off. So the other loss was 12 billion of it, because I mentioned this because our brothers have been putting out this propaganda that we printed money. They should give us the evidence of any printing of money. We did not print money. It was a write-off. It was just the BOG's part of the haircuts that were done for domestic debt exchange and the foreign debt exchange. Then in 2023, the bank lost 13 billion using IFRS, okay? And in 2024, the bank lost 9 billion cedis. You see that improvement was happening. And then this year, they say that we have lost close to 16 billion cedis.
15.
Well, I'm rounding it off.
Why didn't you round
the other one off?
I'm doing, you see that I've been rounding, I've been rounding everything off.
Yes,
this is not the only thing yet. No, I said 60, 13, 9,
60.8 is 17.
I've looked at this number, I'm rounding off. I'm rounding off. So you want 15.6 instead of 16 billion, no problem, I'll give you that. But which I've already told you, please, I've already told you that rounded off is about 34 billion, really. So you see that they have worsened our situation to get all these numbers, which are not translating into people's lived experiences. The cost of living, from electricity to hostel fees and everything, which are not part of that inflation, is going through the roof. Okay, people are suffering. Liquidity has come to a standstill. You can ask all business people. Meanwhile, even at the port where we're getting this exchange rate, that Omar Josso exchange rate, telling us this AI exchange rate that they have created for us, spending so much money, at least through the gold trade alone, 9 billion cedis has been spent to achieve this exchange rate, artificial exchange rate.
You think it's artificial?
Of course it's artificial. The numbers are there to show how much we spent to get that rate. Okay? So please, my term is artificial because it is not determined by the fundamentals. And when you go to the port, they've brought in Pelican AI, which is also killing, and then we end up, it's like they've given some of this money to, or at least they have this headline exchange rate. But you go to the port and the cost of duties have actually gone up higher than in 2024. So bottom line is, you go to the market, people don't have the money to buy. You go to the market, the things which have been imported with this lower rate, they've added these duties back on to the point where it's even higher. So we're not seeing the effect. So we're spending all this money in an unsustainable fashion. They had to sell 18 tons of gold. Do you know how much 1 ton in terms of ounces? It's over 3,700 ounces per 1 ton of gold. Multiply that by 18. They've sold all this money. And then now next year, what else are they going to spend? Okay. My final word is that next year, in terms of the 2026 report, what is coming? Per the minorities analysis, is going to be even more scary, because already the net equity situation has gone from 58 billion cedis to 94 billion cedis. That's the liabilities of the bank versus its assets. So which means that long term we got issues. They do this next year. They are piling all these debts to get us these beautiful numbers, economic indicators, which are not reflecting in your lives. Okay. What is the sense in this?
All right, let me have the thought of Kwaku on that as well. I've got some few messages, I'll be reading them as well. Kwaku, let me have your take on that.
You see, when you look at some of these indices and then figures that the BoG have out there. Yeah. And then you look at the position of the minority. And look at the position of the minority in parliament. We still playing politics with everything. That which I think it gets to a point where it leaves a lot to be desired. Okay? Why is it that we find ourselves in a country where we have 12 key macroeconomic indicators or variables. But successive governments have made it a point that we must only depend on only 2 variables as measures of success. And that is where the problem, all these problems we're talking about, that is where it hinders on. Okay? Our own issue is that we must always depend on 2 key variables, which is inflation and an exchange rate. Okay? So if I'm able to bring inflation down, if I'm able to make sure that the exchange rate,
the city is stronger,
it measures or tells me that I've been successful as a government. And that is where all these issues emanate from, where we have to spend so much, almost about 16 point something billion,
15.6,
to ensure that inflation is down. Okay? But then even the problem I have is that in as much as we are spending all this money making sure that inflation is down, does it translate to what we have in the market? Is that what we are seeing actually out there? Has the price of kinky reduced? You see, we said we spent all these monies, I think it was 16.7 billion in 2025 to mop up the excess liquidity in the market, right?
Yes.
Is that not it?
Yes.
So even as we are trying to mop up and then sterilize the whole system, is it trying to bring that money out, that excess money, is what we term as sterilization.
Sterilization, yeah.
And now, if we try to sterilize it and we try to pull the money out of the market, has the inflation that we try to manage been actually managed out there? Are people not still selling their goods at exorbitant rates? Are people not still increasing the prices of commodities every now and then? So and then we spend so much as $10 billion to sort up the city last year. That's what BoG released, right? $10 billion to ensure that the city to the dollar, we stabilize it, and then that shows, or that should tell everybody that Bank of Ghana is working and that government is also doing well, right? But at the end of the day, like I said it, even on this show I did, that pushing so much cash to ensure that the city to dollar is stabilized and all that, to me, was much ado about nothing. Why do I?
Because they didn't do what?
Because, listen, the money that you put into the system will find itself back out of the country. Because, let me be blunt with you. I spoke about, and I'm still going to say it again, that between the period of 31st, probably from 30th of December to 31st January, companies
of last year?
Companies, no, every year.
Okay.
Companies will come out with their audited accounts and all that. And then the foreign companies that we have in Ghana, which would repatriate their dividends, will do that between January to somewhere May. So they will repatriate their dividends back to their parent companies. So if you push in as much as $10 billion, what you are doing is that you are telling or assuring everybody that, listen, I have liquid for you to ensure that you repatriate your dividends back to your parent companies. Because if a company, I have not read MTN's report for this year, but then in 2024, they repatriated $3 billion to their parent company. So if you have released $10 billion, yet $3 billion out of that money will be repatriated back to the parent company, then what are we doing? And then that's MTN alone. We have now not even looked at the other foreign companies, those
which are also parent companies
who are also going to repatriate money. So at the end of the day, what happens then is that we push this money, and then it finds its way. The private sector will still buy it and take it out of the economy. So what does the cedi and the dollar still stay? You see, all these things, and we've left holistically almost about 10 indicators that should be measuring our success rate. One is that the unemployment situation we find ourselves in. This is a country that unemployment is eating up the social fiber of Ghana. And then instead of we looking at how best, I heard my brother Malik talk about interest rates going down and all that. We pray and wish it comes down. Because all these figures we are churning out, with the management of the gold that was sold, and that the reason why the minority still hitting out on majority, which they don't understand, is that, listen, they are telling us that if the gold that we sold, and then we made some gains of 9-point-something million out of it, right? 9.5? From the gold.
For the gold sale.
Gold sales. The actual proceeds that we got was 9.6.
Yeah,
9.6 billion. If we had not, or Bank of Ghana has not used this as an income lesson, then our the losses would have been.
Well, what would they
25.
sell in the future whilst they're selling all this?
They would have been hitting 25 billion. Okay, because of that gain, it reduced it to 15 that we are talking about now. Okay, and these are some of the things we are saying, that in as much as they do all these things, we are trying to manage inflation, we are trying to look at the exchange rate, but it is still not telling in the pockets of the other Ghanaian out there. If inflation is down, I should go out there and buying commodities at a cheaper rate.
That has been a major issue. I mean, over the years, how to regulate that has always been a bigger issue. How do we go about that? Because almost every solution that we prefer does not even solve the problem in the first place.
How do we go about that?
Yeah.
We should be asking
the politician.
The politician.
What do you mean by
Sefah is a politician, yes.
But the inflation under the previous administration started off around 17% average, went down to about 12, and then the following year went down to... Sorry?
It has never been.
We took over at 17 average.
No, 15.4.
Please. I said...
It's false.
Please.
It's 15.4.
You said 15.
It's false. No, it's not about what
Can I just... I have my data. You can check. I said average.
You cannot be throwing...
Yes, but it's supposed to be close.
You cannot be...
Please.
Yes.
I was very specific. I said...
It's not.
Can you let me talk for a moment? I said average inflation. I didn't say the headline inflation.
You crossed it.
I said
what's the difference in
average means that you take the entirety of the inflation for the year preceding our takeover. That's what I'm I have a right to speak in terms of how I want to speak.
I'll come to you.
That's right.
Just
let me finish. Let me finish my thought, and you can always respond. I said average. I studied these numbers. So average inflation, I said, was about 17%. Okay, for the year preceding our takeover. The average inflation. The reason why I'm using average is I'm not just looking at a particular point in time. I'm saying throughout the year. Okay, because that gives you the truest picture of what happened for the year, the entirety of the year. 2017, I said the average was around 12. And in 2018, it came way down towards 5 to 6. And then by 2020, okay, or 2021, thereabouts, it shot up. It began to go up. And eventually, we all know 2022, the crisis year went up to the 54, which they keep referencing as if it was the entirety of the time. So inflation has previously gone down. We've had times under President Mills as vice president, around 98, around that time, where inflation went over the 54%. Okay? So these things can happen when you have crisis. Then we brought it down. So for 2023 and 2024, it was around 23%. I hope you get my point. These are averages. And so 23% for those 2 years, okay? Then you came in and then you got an average. Even the average for 2025, by the way, was not 5.6. That's the ending inflation. The average was higher than that. I think last time I checked, it was just around 12% or so for the entire year. Right. So I'm talking averages for a reason. All I'm trying to say is that you have inflation, it sometimes may spike for, in a crisis or whatever, then it goes down. But it's not like we have this high inflation all the time.
Yeah, but my problem is this, and that's where Kwaku's, conversation and why my question came in. He is talking about the fact that, we talk about all of these things, they look all good and all that, but we're not able to make it reflect on how the people actually see these things. And I'm saying that it's been a generational thing. Like, for example, we've had inflation down even in the NPP period, where people still feel like they're not feeling
5 point something.
Exactly, they're not still feeling in their pocket. The NDC would
2018, 2019.
Check which month? You never had 5.
Please.
You never.
Oh, can you get a number? I think you yourself. When you get to speak, you can. I said that under MPP, we got inflation to less than 6%.
This was
if he says that.
This was what
around 2018.
That's false.
2019. Check and give us the number as it was. It's not. No, you are the one disputing me. I'm not the one disputing myself. But my main point is as he tries to prove what he's saying.
Yes, my issue has to do.
The proof is not on
my issue has to do with
you. No, it's not. Figures. You can't just.
I threw figure, and if you think I'm wrong, you prove it. But if I can just make my main point that I want to make at this point is that I kept mentioning real GDP. Real GDP for me, it's the soup. It's the soup. That is the end result. You can have spices, you can have salt, an amount of salt, you can have all these things. But when it's all said and done, how does the soup taste? I hope you get my point. And that is real GDP. I've always said this everywhere I go. I don't play with the GDP growth because that's what you feel in your pocket. Or at least that's the closest to what you can feel in your pocket. How is the economy growing? That's what creates employment. That's what creates capacity for development. And if you look at Nanado's first 3 years before the global crisis we all know that hurt the whole world, the average was close to 7%. That is robust. Compare that to the previous Mahama administration. The average was around 4%. 4% versus 7. That is real GDP growth. It's not about your inflation number per se. That's why you go to the market. So many people are saying, Nanado time krano, na niema iboye din krano, which is what they remember most recently, the crisis time. Yetimi to niema, yetimi nyesika tu ebotum. That is real GDP because real GDP already factors out inflation and all those things and tells you, are you better off or you are worse off? Okay. So what you are doing, how is it translating into GDP, real GDP growth?
Malik, I'll come to you. I'll come to you for you to have your take. But I want us to take a look at this. And by the way, the 2018 inflation we were talking about was hovering around 9.3, 9.5.
And what was 2019?
That was at the end of
what was 2019?
So no, but let's take a look at this. The Bank of Ghana has been responding to the issues that have been raised. For the central bank. Let's take a listen to some of the things that he has said about the loss, and then I'll come to you, Malik.
The income statement tells you exactly what the loss is, which is 15.6 billion. But before I go into explaining the financial position, let me just say this, that oftentimes the balance sheet of a central bank is a poor reflection of its performance over the period. And why do I say this? If you look at a commercial entity, commercial entity with the profit maximization, concept, the goal is profit maximization. So you then see that most commercial entities will be looking at value creation, value preservation, and value realization. So if they would either be getting money out of their operations, or if you invest in it, you want to see capital growth or dividend and so on and so forth. from a private entity. Our mandate is very different, Carlos. And that is something that a lot of people, not just central banks, just as Bank of Ghana, but all monetary authorities have this mandate, which is very, very unique.
What is your mandate?
Our mandate is maintain stability in the general level of prices. And if you go to the Bank of Ghana Act, it is clear. Of course, this is also subordinated by other objectives as well. So that mandate of price stability is what we pursue. The total comprehensive income, which looks at what you got from the operating income side of your account and what came out of the OCI, total comprehensive income now goes into the movement in the same way. Therefore, that's the equity section of it.
Is that not the reason why some are saying that the total loss could be about 44 billion?
You know, in terms of the interpretation of financial statement, we have to be very, very careful, right? Because I always keep saying cash is fact, profit is an opinion. When you're looking at all your cash transactions, that will feed into your income statement and you see the true value of what you are getting. Now, when you go to the OCI, the reason why sometimes it is always useful to create that buffer to actually take out those unrealized elements is that even when it comes to valuation of those components within those OCI items, there are various valuation methods that are being used there.
All right, so that's over the weekend, one of our shows and the issue of BoG. Now, let me come to you, Malik.
Thank
a few of the things that you want to clear.
Yes, thank you very much. When it comes to financial statements, you cannot sit in your corner and decide how it should be done. No. You see, financial statement is something that it is being done annually. And if you have challenge with your financial statement, what you do is to maybe raise concerns that you have on the financial statement. You know, they keep on speaking about what's the name? IFRS. IFRS. That's the International Financial Reporting Standard. You know, the central bank also did not just move away from that's the IFRS. They did not. But do you know something? The International Bank also has its, when you read the BoG, they also have their guidelines, which is being used by the bank. So when you look at it, they didn't depart. The BoG, they adopted the IFRS as a guide, but they gave precedent to the Bank of Ghana Act 2002, Act 612 as amended. Why? They give a precedent to it because it exists and we've used it. So it is not
other than the one we're using instead of the
look at what they say.
Right?
The IFRS was not, they didn't depart from it. They adopted it as a guide and then gave precedent.
Why?
To the Ghana Act. Why was the Act being established for the first one? Why was it? Actually, it's not a matter of why. But they give, and what is even a financial reporting standard? It is international financial reporting standard. It's a standard that has been set aside for financial reporting to follow. That is
so it's not totally running away from the IFRS.
It is a standard that has been set internationally for financial reporting to follow.
But does it still give you the accurate figures
And then the central bank, they didn't depart from it, but they rather adopted it and then gave precedent to Ghana's Act 2002, Act 612 as amended. If we don't like it, we should go away with the law. That is what the minority is refusing to go by it. That is one. And then two, if someone says there is no reduction in goods and services in this country, I 1,000,000% disagree with whoever will say. I will even use cement. The cost of cement in 2024, November, December, and the cost today there's a vast difference. I repeat, vast difference. There's a drop, drastically drop. As of today, as I'm speaking with you, you can get the grade 32 around 80 Ghana cedis. Yes, 80 Ghana cedis. Based on where you buy it, 81.75, based on the brand and where you buy. In 2024, November, December, you get it 100, 105, 110. Even January, February 2025, gasoline was being sold at 125 cedis. Today, it's about 105. That's the grade 42. 105, 106, and then 107, depending on where you buy it from. So do you say you don't make savings? You make a lot of savings. Whoever will say there's no cutoff is false. Today, you and I know, as a matter of fact, that even rice that are being imported into this country has reduced, the price has come down as compared to 2024. Sugar, sack that we used to buy, my auntie sells cocoa. We used to buy sugar, the sack, about 800. Today he buys around 500. 500.
Are you serious?
Yes, he buys around 500, 550. Yes. When you live here, go and find
a bag of sugar.
He buys, yes, around 500, 550. He buys it. But then it was trending around 800.
And yet, Malik, the cocoa
you
price.
See, I'm
the
coming.
cocoa price.
We will get there. No, let's go the point one by one.
Anyway,
some things have gone down, some things have gone up. You can't just pick and choose and then mislead.
You see, what is misleading?
Were you the one who was allowing me to talk every time I open my mouth? Now you want me to allow you to talk? I won't.
I don't mind.
You want to be allowed to talk.
You see, all what I'm saying, they are the bare facts. But as they said, what about the finishing product, which is the kinky? Today, maize at Wa, the bigger, is it 90 or 100 kilo? It's about 300 Ghana cedis. I am telling you, take it on record.
There's been a bumper harvest.
You get it? Yes,
take
it's
a
about
seasonal price.
Right? We pray it gets here. It should be cheap. Based on our rate.
No, as for that one, as for getting here, we go. As for
yes, that is
I wanted to go.
But you know, sometimes, you know, 2024, it was 600, 650 at the same place. But
people were buying.
Yes, hold on.
But now people are not buying.
No,
you see people.
Then, hold on. No, that's not the issue. Then,
the cocoa farmers will get there.
It was 650 at the same location.
Happy with
2024. 2024, it was 650 at the same location. And when it gets here, it's about 1,000 cedis. But today there is 300 Ghana cedis.
Okay.
Today, or even less. You get some.
So if you bring it here, you still
so you bring it
around
600, which is still cheaper. But you see, our argument here is about maybe the kinky seller, which fine, we all agree. The fact that the maize is this cheap, which is about 45 to 50% lower, we should also push for the kinky sellers to also raise the ball. Though they will not reduce it, to raise the ball.
And that is the
we
problem we can't solve.
But the
that is where Kwaku was mentioning that.
But the good thing is
how do we solve that problem?
But you see, the fact that all of us are pushing for the kinky ball to increase size, the another good thing is that they cannot increase the price because of the stability and the reduction of the maize and cocoa.
So the size the same, but the prices will not go up.
So the prices has not gone up because they cannot increase it. They can't increase it. But what we should be praying or talking about is to what? Increase the size because the maizes are cheap at the market. So the inflation is working. And what Bank of Ghana did is working. Honestly speaking, it's working. Today, when you check, the base rate is 14%. Right? I said even 15. And then average interest rate is 19%. Average interest. That means people are giving loan at a rate of lower than 19.
Are you sure they're giving the loan?
You know, right? It has gone down.
You
The lending has gone down.
Lending
has reduced significantly.
Just give it a try.
The money is there. People are not borrowing because they cannot sell. Look at all the billboards that are empty across the city.
So
I look at it every single day.
You see, at the end of the
average lending rates
nobody is
now
buying
looking at 20.4
and borrowing.
Wait,
for average lending rates now in 2025. Yeah,
even it's okay.
20.4.
The base rate in 2024 was 29%, moved to 27%.
You had that even in your first administration.
You understand?
You had rates like that.
27%, which is excessive. You can't even go. The loan is called GIFEC. You take the loan and they go and die in the house.
Today they won't borrow. The money is there. They said they won't borrow. What about that?
It is not even that they won't borrow. If you put it that they won't borrow, even the banks themselves
won't give
some of them don't give.
Because the businesses are not flowing.
I can give you my message.
Oh.
Even my banks, which I will not mention the name, are telling me to come for a loan, and they've given me a quota that I can get.
Yeah, some banks are sending messages like that.
No, I can send it to you.
You as an example per se. We said the lending rate, the level of lending has reduced significantly.
My government spokesperson.
No, lending has.
You think everybody has the same situation as you may have?
Let's go back to Bank of Ghana. What are the core mandates of KMD?
Yeah.
What are the core mandates of Bank of Ghana? The core mandate of Bank of Ghana is to monitor the markets, to supervise the banks, and to what? And to make sure that our forex currency is stabilized. Are they doing it or not? That is one. The gold that were sold, the proceeds.
You are still talking about that.
The proceeds is in our reserve. Remember, that gold sale is more or less the same reserve, but in this time it has been changed into liquid. Unlike initially, it was a hard
but you know what,
which is there.
Malik,
that is
one
the
point.
difference.
When we mentioned some of these sales of
that is
and then we were told that they have not sold anything.
And then you just prove it to us. And then KMJ.
Yes, my time is up actually.
Yes,
so we should be going
another
now.
issue is that we have
so can we also
standard
to say?
We have a well standard that is acceptable. Our reserves, the reason why they sold, our reserves were about 72 was gold of our reserve. And gold, yes, 72 was gold.
What do you mean 72?
72% of our reserve was gold. And then the 58 was monetary. So in gold also, the price of gold fluctuates. You can't determine the price of gold. So when the price got to a stable rate, which was favorable, that is when they decided to sell the 18 tons. And then the reason is that to also meet the well standard of 20% maximum.
Okay.
So they sold it when the price was at its peak.
Okay.
And then they made money, and the money is in our reserve today.
Okay.
That money.
Can we also say
time is that. Priscilla says that I got to you briefly, but you have to do it 1 minute for me.
Hey,
and now I'm in trouble. Priscilla says, "Good morning. I'm watching you live from Osu." Musa says the Bank of Ghana deserves praise for transparency and prudent management. Despite recording a 60.9 billion Ghana cedi loss in 2022 amid 54.1% inflation and a sharply depreciating cedi, losses have now reduced to 15.6 billion as inflation and exchange rate pressures ease. This shows clear progress, not failure. Dr. Johnson Esiama and his team merit recognition for their disciplined leadership. All right.
You know why
Don't take my time. Don't take my time.
In 30 seconds. You know why we are buying.
Why are you taking 30 seconds?
The reason is that because of the currency, foreign currency is being
Malik, you're not being fair to Sefah. Sefah, please go ahead.
Sefah, continue.
Okay, folks, including our NDC listeners, the fact is that you have a finance minister who is enamored with beautiful statistics, and he's hell-bent on doing everything to keep these numbers. But you yourself, at the ministry's agencies, no money to do anything. We're just putting I said so. And we're here. Well, you can see it in the budget that was cut. We looked at the budget last year's budget. Almost the only. Can I speak?
You don't prove.
No, please.
You just make an empty statement.
Can you stop that? Can you stop? I said last year's budget, the only program that was not cut was salaries and compensations budget. Okay, that's the only one that they spent, just loading up people in the various public agencies who may be redundant. But the ministries, the various programs, Jumara, all these things, the 24-hour economy, all of them not funded. And so they
not funded.
No, Mustafa, go ahead.
Okay,
go ahead.
And you can see that the money is not being spent to develop the fundamentals. They're busy, instead of allowing the fundamentals to determine the exchange rate, they're busy actually altering the exchange rate, spending so much money which is not impacting your lives out there. You don't have money to spend. They can bring inflation to 1%. If you don't have the purchasing power, you are not able to spend, and you know it. You know it out there. You know that you don't have the money to spend, and you know also that even though inflation has come down, they put in a lot of money. We just discussed this. The fact is that the cost of living, which is a little bit different, it's actually going up.
That's false.
And it's not false.
World Bank even reported.
I don't need you to intervene, please. Let me make my point.
It's false.
Your school fees, your tuition fees, your electricity bills, which has gone up at least 25%.
There's a reduction in electricity.
No, you went to 28 and then you brought it to 25%. It's a reduction. Stop the propaganda.
Yours was 58%.
Okay. He can't even let me speak. All right? Because I have the facts so much. He cannot let me speak.
So thank you, a very good brother of mine just sent a message. This that's the Kwame Dinchi, Honorable Kwame Dinchi. He says there's a reduction in the price of rice, but does it reflect in the restaurants? That's where another problem.
He admitted that
all these numbers,
he admitted that.
And then also,
let him finish.
Continue. I'm sorry.
That is what we spoke about.
We are going to sign a petition. We'll sign a petition so that Malik will stop.
Malik will apologize and come back again.
Allow it to speak.
You see, the truth is, all these we are saying, the books looks good.
The reality looks good.
It looks good.
Malik.
And like he himself rightly admitted right now, yes, let's say the prices of maize have dropped out there in the hinterlands. When it comes here, it goes up. But still, the end product we buy, we suffer.
Hey, that's what the problem is.
And that's what the problem is. You see, so if government does not come up with a way of checking some of those things and dealing with those things, we will still have a lot of these issues to answer tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because the books may look good.
Spending so much money to make the books look good.
The reality looks good. Because the price of the maize that he said, less than 300 Ghana cedis in one, when it gets it's around 600, which is okay. But what challenge is that how the Kinke will increase.
That is where the problem is.
That is
almost everybody
is worried about.
The balls are still shrinking.
Yes, but we start somewhere. We start somewhere. Do you know where we start? We start by pushing for the raw material to come down first. If the raw materials are down, now we can push for the finished material.
So you are confident that we'll get to the point where the balls
will because there are some places which I can't mention names. The balls are not bad. There are some places I can't mention names. And we
but if you mention names, some of us will go there. Some of us will have to go there and enjoy what you are enjoying.
When it comes to inflation, there is the cost push and then there's also the demand pull.
As a result of inflation, that is how
you see.
This one says,
it's overhead.
Let me read some few messages from our
viewers. We are buying petrol.
Malik. This one says, good morning, I'm Okai from Bantama. And the city was just 25 accounts. I acknowledge government's obligation to restore the capital base through a phased recapitalization program from 2026 to 2032. That means today's losses become tomorrow's taxpayer cost, debt instrument, or fiscal trade-off. This should be treated as a fiscal risk requiring parliamentary oversight. Functional central bank with 93.82 billion Ghana cedis negative equity hole is still a public finance problem, regardless of its operational continuity. All right, let me have the next one over there. This one says, on behalf of the team of Honorable Ofosu Sefah Bio incoming for which our brothers and sisters who are writing the B.E.C.E today, very best of luck in examination. Your hard work today will build you tomorrow. All right. Good morning. I am Eben from Kwabenya. The so-called huge loss claimed by the micro-minority of Bank of Ghana is better than what we witnessed under the past regime of abysmal performance. If for nothing at all, Ghanaians have seen the appreciation of the cedi against the foreign currencies. They should tell us what their so-called losses in 2022 added to Ghana's economy. Greetings to Honorable Julius Debra, Chief of Staff. Let me have the next one. This one says, good morning, KMJ. This is Abdul Ghani Makrigu from Savannah region. The Bank of Ghana, which is expected to operate independently, is now being defended by the National Democratic Congress as though it were their communications arm. According to the bank's 2025 consolidated financial statement, it recorded a negative equity position of 93.82 billion, up from 58.62 billion in 2024. By comparison, in 2022, when the bank reported a negative equity of about 54 billion Ghana cedis, the NDC staged a protest at its premises and called for the removal of the governor. This raises an important question. Will the NDC take similar action under the current circumstances? The contrast is quite striking. And the next one is from Teacher Kojo, if I can get that. It says, Mohammed's 133 job promise for the youth was a fraud. NDC propaganda on LGBTQ has backfired on them big time. God bless the digital Baumia. He's all we have. God bless him. The 24-hour economy promise was a scam, and the 6,500 Ghana cedis price per bag of cocoa promise was fraud. Where is the Women Development Bank? Deception is in the NDC's hallmark. Greetings to Honorable Eric Nana Ajman Prempe. Let me get the next one. What do we have? And Kwame Acidity says, on behalf of the team, okay, I think I've read this on the other side on Facebook. Get me the next one. What do we have? Meshach says, we thank the government, especially Energy Minister Honorable John Jinapo and engineers for working so hard to bring back Akosombo Dam. And I can say with joy that there has been significant improvement in the system for over 5 days now, using my area, Amasaman, Kokobo, as an example. So my big question is, which message again is NPP bringing this time, since the Doomsaw campaign has fallen flat in the water? And I can assure NPP that all their evil plans against the state will never see the light of light. Since God is with President Mahama. All right, Meshach sent in that one. Can I have the Hadi? Oh, okay. Good morning, KJ. I am Felix Kwoti from Kaswa. Good morning to the panel. My contribution. 1. The purpose of writing BECs is outmoded. The country should redefine the purpose of examination. With discussion like examination malpractices, you should invite the experts in the field of assessment to diagnose the problem instead of politicians. The country should remove the barrier of school categorization. If not, then GES should clearly define why they established secondary schools across the country, which will cater for the interest and needs of the candidates. WAEC should also use parallel test and alternative test in addition to the serialization currently used to cater for the malpractices. And the president has gone into an agreement with the elect. Okay, can I get okay? Hadi Impik Farm says, please go down, to the last one. Hadi Impik Farm sends a lot of messages, so this is the last one. Okay, the NPP, okay, we're still trying to get the message from her, but this one over here says that, okay. I think I've read all of that. Musa Abato in Asawasa says the BoG deserves commendation for its transparency and prudent management in 2022 when inflation surged to about 54.1% and the cedi depreciated sharply to nearly 17 Ghana cedis to the dollar. The BoG recorded a loss of 60.9 billion. Today, with inflation significantly reduced around 3.2% and the cedi relatively stable at about 11.4 Ghana cedis to the dollar, the reported loss has narrowed to 15.6 15.6 billion. Clearly, this reflects progress and responsible economic management, not failure. Some people are simply trying to make a stomach of a teacup. But Dr. Johnson Esiama and his team deserve to be rewarded for steering the economy through such a difficult period with discipline and transparency. And that's Musa Abato. This one says, good morning, Kem. The truth be told, for the past 3 days, I have enjoyed stable electricity supply. Kudos to the Energy Ministry. They should do well to restore for any other places who are yet to receive. Stephen sent in that one. All right. Good morning, KMJ. Please tell the NPP man that all the economic terminologies he's wasting on Ghanaians this morning to prove that Ghanaians are sovereign is just a waste of time. The Ghanaians who did not study economics saw real suffering and economics under the Nana Dudankwa and Baumia in the market and at shops. An era you buy an item in the morning, afternoon, the price has changed, and in the evening, the price will change again. KMJ, we got to a point when you walk into a shop to buy something and the shopkeeper will tell you to wait for him to call his supplies for the new price before he could sell for you. Where was the Malik? Was this Malik at the time? Master Rahman Sola Tunaka said to now. Well, you were making reference to Sefah, by the way.
Sorry, somebody referred to
yeah, they making reference and they ended up making a reference to Malik. Right?
We have 1 minute.
Anyway,
yeah.
Okay, this one.
Why? What I don't understand is that, you know, the reason why the minority is apprehensive.
Yeah.
They are apprehensive because this report that the Bank of Ghana came out.
Yeah.
Has not been given to them. They've not been given. So
they don't have a copy of it.
Yes,
it was given to NDC.
It was given to NDC.
And they came out and which is all against the law.
The main statement, the main financial
section 58. It's So how did they do the press conference?
That is where they have
issue
a very big issue.
So the government is supposed to go to the floor of Parliament. I think the coming week.
It's supposed to go to the minister and then from minister to Parliament.
No.
Instead, it was given to NDC communicated
that the documents that he was given stated
so he has a copy.
ABCD. So he said so he was given
the law is very clear. You can see it from the Bank Act, section 58.
It's the same document.
And then one other thing that I had wanted, you see, when we were talking earlier, Malik said something like, MPP never had something, inflation dropping to
5%. You mentioned 5.
5, yeah.
I think
they had 7.15.
Yeah. Yes,
but they never had 5%.
You've gotten even 3, and it's still not impacting people's lives.
Sometimes education-wise,
yeah.
I think in 30 seconds.
No, Malik.
You always want
a deeply stressing medical case involving 5-year-old Miguel Intifo has come to light with urgent calls for support as he battles a severe brain condition requiring critical care. The story is being championed by the Multimedia Group Limited to mobilize assistance for the child's treatment and recovery. Miguel has been diagnosed with posterior fascial tumor with obstructive hydrocephalus, a serious neurological condition that demands urgent and specialized medical intervention. And we're asking everybody to come on board so we can help Miguel. He has already undergone one surgery and is now preparing for a second one, more critical procedure that will need you and I to be able to help him go through this. And so please do well and support it. And I am hoping that the NDC will support it, especially Malik.
No, Ibrahim. Yes, all our goals.
Anyway, let me say, but thanks to those who have already supported, and we still want the support. So please kindly help us, and let's all support Miguel. You support, right? Thank you. So that's the video over there. It's very, very troubling. When they sent it to me, I couldn't watch the entire video. Very, very, very troubling.
You have a Momo.
And yes, the Momo number is on the screens. That's the bank account number is also over there. Please, Malik wants to support. So Sheila and the team, please give the number. Sefah will also support, whether he's in opposition or not.
We'll do our
they just left power. Less than 2 years. What is Sefah crying about?
A big thank you to you, Malik, for coming through this.
We're not into your level of create, loot, and share. You guys are
thank you so much,
experts.
Praise the Father for making time for me this morning. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
God bless you. Thank you for coming this morning, my brother. I'm grateful you all made it.
Malik,